I was at a dinner a couple of nights ago, and the conversation turned to Microsoft Copilot, and a number of the people around the table had been enforced to use Microsoft Copilot by their IT teams. And so there was a lot of vigorous debate about whether Copilot was a viable solution, given what's going on in the market, and how they should convince their IT team and their legal to look at other solutions such as ChatGPT. So I'm going to just walk you through what I shared in that discussion. So firstly, why does it matter? Well, at the moment, it doesn't matter where you went to school. It doesn't matter what country you come from or what language you speak. It doesn't matter how old you are or how wealthy you are. You've got access to this infinite knowledge machine. And what you type into it can really dictate what happens to you personally in terms of your career, but also the compounding effect on an entire company. And so typing the right things into the right input boxes is so important as a decision to make. And individuals are voting with their phones in terms of which tool they're going to use to access that infinite knowledge machine. This is a chart that came from the recent Mary Meeker AI Trends report, and it shows mobile app usage of the leading LLMs. Now you can see on the left here, ChatGPT is by far and away the leading one. That's probably something like 80% of the market. And then you go down to others, Gemini, Grok, Claude. We're not seeing Copilot on here at all. Now, why I've shown you mobile app users and not the desktop app users is that this is what individuals have control over. This is what they can put onto their personal phones. And so unless you take everyone's phones away, they're already using ChatGPT. But it's not just about on their phones, it's also on their keyboards. So this is an article that came out just yesterday talking about how office workers are the ones that are also driving towards ChatGPT, and that Microsoft is struggling to sell that into its own customers. This article shares this example of Amgen, a big medical company, who had rolled out Copilot to 20,000 employees. But just over a year later, everyone's using ChatGPT because that is what users feel they can get the best output from. So why is it that Copilot is not being chosen by the users? Well, there's three main reasons. The first is just the user experience. It is users that are deciding how they solve their work challenges. And OpenAI have really pushed forwards in things like projects. So this is a repeatable prompt for a bit of work that you're going to do again and again. So maybe this is me researching an account. Maybe this is me working on a new product that we're going to release. GPTs, which is a repeated prompt for other people to use, either in your organization or even beyond into your customers. These are fantastic, and OpenAI is in the lead here compared to all of the other LLM providers. Advanced voice, which is now enabled in their projects feature, is just unbelievable. It feels like you're talking to a human, and great for coaching, workshops, and mentoring. Deep research, the ability to go deep on either an external topic and build a management consultancy style report on some external content, but also into your own data and repositories. Integrations into HubSpot, into GitHub, into Dropbox, into, ironically, SharePoint and Teams and Outlook. All of these have been built out and give you access and context of your data. And then they've got world-class mobile and desktop applications that are pulling in to things like advanced voice. So from a user perspective, I've got this on my phone, or I've got Copilot that work have given me that has not got any of those things. Which one am I picking up? Secondly is about models. So there are really three closed source providers that are at the front end of this frontier model. And you've got OpenAI, you've got Anthropic with their Claude models, you've got Google with their Gemini models. Now, Copilot is built off OpenAI's models, but it's a bit like watching Plus One on the movie channel. You know you're a little bit behind. You're not getting the forefront. So users know that if you want to get right up to what is the latest model and with all of the features and the functionality, then you're going to get that through the ChatGPT interface, not through Copilot. And thirdly, I touched on this with the GPTs mentioning about their functionality. When you create a GPT, you've got this ability to either just use it yourself, to share it with some named individuals through invite only, to make it public across your entire organization so that people can come and find it almost like in an app store, or indeed to share it out with external, to your customers, to your suppliers, to candidates that are thinking about applying to your organization, to event attendees that are looking forward to coming to your event. There are so many ways of sharing the things that you are building through ChatGPT. So those are the three main reasons we see that users are picking up ChatGPT: user experience, the models, and the sharing. Now, why is it that IT and legal are often so against ChatGPT? Well, it comes down to the circle of trust. Microsoft have done a great job over the last 30 years of building up trust in the enterprise. That we've got this enterprise licensing, this enterprise user management, this enterprise pricing, and we'll just keep dropping products into that, and we'll add that in so that you're covered by your license, the governance, the contracts, the pricing. It's a safe place to test something out. And just as in the 70s or 80s, people used to say you're never going to get fired for buying IBM. Now, very much, if you work in IT or procurement, you're not going to get fired for buying Copilot. But OpenAI, ChatGPT, is not in the circle of trust. But if all your users are on their phones outside of the circle of trust, then you're missing the point and you're missing the opportunity, because your users have left the circle of trust and aren't too bothered about what you've got within it. So how do you take IT and legal on this journey and encourage them to take a look at ChatGPT? Well, the first thing I'd be doing is just to explain to them about the licenses. So many companies that I speak to think that this is what ChatGPT offers: a free license, maybe a plus license, which is paid and gives you access to a few more things. Maybe if you're a super user, you have access to a pro license. What many companies aren't aware of is that there are corporate licenses from ChatGPT. So there is a team license. You can then go up one to an enterprise license. If you're in the public sector, there are some education and government licenses. And then you also have access to an API or a developer license if you're building applications. Now, it's this team and enterprise license which are the ones that I want to focus in on. You'll find out more of this on OpenAI's website. But for the team and enterprise license, I want to explicitly call out that there is no training on your corporate data. You can see that team data is excluded from training by default with encryption and at rest and in transit. The easy line for someone that is sort of anti-ChatGPT is to say, well, you can't trust them. They're a startup. They're just getting going. Every bit of client data that you put in there is going to end up in their training data, and we're going to give it to our competition. That is not true. And therefore, you want to encourage them to get into the details and give themselves the confidence that when your employees are putting client data into ChatGPT, they should feel as confident as when they're putting it into Salesforce or HubSpot. Secondly, integrations. One of the stories about the circle of trust from Copilot is that, it's all deeply integrated with the Microsoft stack. Well, they have not got the monopoly on that. OpenAI have built some fantastic integrations and continue to expand those into the key parts of the Microsoft stack to give your people the access and the context when they're having their chats. So as an administrator in a team or enterprise account, you can just enable these. Now, I do want to call out, these are now being rolled out into the personal accounts, so the Plus and the Pro. Now, this means that if you don't enable ChatGPT at a team or an enterprise level, then ironically, the people that are using ChatGPT on their personal accounts are going to be able to access their Microsoft data through their own ChatGPT account. The third thing that I want to mention in terms of giving your legal, your infosec, your IT people the confidence is that once you move up to the enterprise level, then you really are getting enterprise grade security. So we can think about the industry standard levels of encryption that you would be expecting. We can think about the provisioning, so single sign-on. We can think about skim provisioning, that when people join or leave your organization, you're putting them into the right groups and they're not leaving with all of the chat knowledge that they have used. And then also, depending on where you are in the world, compliance with things like GDPR, SOC 2, you can even start to choose data residency if, for example, you need all of your chat data to be kept in the EU. My message to you is, if your InfoSec team have got a long spreadsheet that needs lots of ticks in it, then ChatGPT is going to be able to put all of the ticks in all of the right places. So how do you start if you've got your IT team starting to have a little look at it? Well, I would say, look, this isn't one or the other. This isn't right, we're all going to charge off in this other direction. Start small and build confidence. I always recommend, regardless of which model you are using, that you should be running split tests. So Model A is the model that you've rolled out to your entire employee base. And so in this case, that might be Copilot has been given to everyone. Now, you should always have Model B that has been rolled out to maybe 5 or 10% of your team. Now, don't just give this to developers or just give it to salespeople, but make sure that there is a group of people. So maybe we've got some senior leaders in there. Maybe we've got some product, yes, some developers, maybe some people that work with our customer support team. In this case, Model A, Copilot, Model B, ChatGPT. And then you start to monitor what those people that have got access to A and B are doing. If they're always using B, then ask them, why are you always using B? Why are you getting better results? Is it a training issue, or is Model B just better? And actually, we need to switch the models out and move B to being the one that we roll out to everyone. Now, even if Model A is ChatGPT, I would be encouraging you to do this as well. Maybe Model B is Gemini. Maybe Model B is Claude. Always have something in the background, because these things are moving so fast. You always want to make sure that you have got the industry-leading tools for your people. Now, how can we help you? Well, Koala can help you and guide you on this journey. So one of the key parts of the Koala platform is AI implementation and performance. And one of those is, how do we evaluate AI vendors and solutions? For many organizations, this is the first time you've been on this journey. You don't know what the right sort of features, functions, requirements, and licensing are. So Koala can take you on that journey with some of our frameworks. If you've got any other questions, just get in touch. hello@koala.com. We'd be happy to help. And I hope that gives you the confidence to go and have a chat with your IT team, or ideally, this is a CEO type conversation. It's the CEO that can really drive this through and enforce, we are going to start using some of these new tools.